Hello there. Welcome to Talking Balearics with me, Martin Makepeace, in a very hot and stuffy Ibiza.
And me, Richie Pryor, in a very hot and stuffy Mallorca. How are you, Mark?
I'm very well, Richie. Have we all calmed down yet?
Well, yeah, so much so that we decided against recording another podcast solely for the eclipse, Mark, which I think, by popular demand was probably a popular choice, I think.
Yeah, listen, it's been done now, mate, but I've got to say, I don't want to hark on too much about it, mate, but it was spectacular, wasn't it? I've got to say that.
I was very surprised, so much so that I'm actually blogging about it right now, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. The person who didn't want to watch it and would rather watch his fridge defrost actually is writing about it.
The fridge was interesting. I've got blogging about that as well. No, I'm kidding. And for all you listen, just so you know, I've sort of kept up to date with quite a lot that's happening on the eclipse front. Eclipse hunters is what they're called. These people that travel around, basically wanting to find out or see more than one eclipse. I mean, this is a big thing, Mark. I've spoken to lots of Americans who literally have come to Mallorca, just especially for the eclipse. It's unbelievable. Last week, I must have bumped into about 50, and I'm not lying to you. That is the truth. Through the work.
I wouldn't presume for 1 minute you are lying, Richie. Is this just an American?
How do you bump into 50 Americans? Well, it's something to do with the work that I do. But also the fact that next year, I don't know if you know, but the eclipse next year will be in Luxor in Egypt.
2nd of August, Rich, next year, by the way, 2027.
Yeah, I know as well.
2nd of August. We'll start the countdown a little bit later this time, though, if that's okay with you. I'm just
maybe we could do a live blog from Luxor, below the pyramids.
I'm just recovering from this eclipse. Now, if you didn't know, Rich, I went to Egypt in February, and I've got to tell you, I won't be going back.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, apparently
you can stick the Luxor where the eclipse doesn't shine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Oh, hello. Oh, God.
Come on.
How was the eclipse greeted over there, Rich? I think it was a massive success, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, amazing. And I think if you, in all seriousness, if you look into the actual what it's brought the economy to this island, I imagine Ibiza the same. Do you know what I mean? It has been unbelievable, and the amount of people that were out. I don't know if you saw, we on our radio page, we posted a video of Santa Ponza Beach. I mean, blimey.
No, it was impressive, mate.
Where were the demonstrators when we needed them last week, hey?
They were watching the eclipse, mate. That's where they were.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
And enjoying themselves, weren't they, on the beach?
There you go.
I mean, it was amazing. I mean, we just got away with it. I don't know if you saw, I put an Instagram story on.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Absolutely incredible, because the cloud, as I said, the anxiety kicked in with about half an hour to go when the clouds came down. And it, honestly, Rich, it couldn't have been any better timing, because the clouds just parted as the eclipse started, and the clouds started again just as it finished. So it was superb. The gasps were incredible. I mean, it was just an incredible moment, and very honoured to see it.
Yeah, me too, Mike. As I say, I poo-pooed the idea a couple of weeks ago. I know I did, but
you're allowed to poo-poo ideas now and again, Rich. Don't worry about that.
No, exactly. And I don't know if I can punt this out right now, but if anybody needs them, I've got 2 pairs of glasses, only once used. If anybody needs to buy,
I've still got about 20 pairs, Rich. I couldn't even give them away in the end.
You should be out by the fair. You should be out by the old pyramids next year, Mike.
Will do, yeah.
I'll buy any spares.
I think there'll be plenty of people out by the pyramids next year. Anyway. Eclipse is over, but Talking Balearics isn't, because this is our weekly podcast talking about the culture, talking about current affairs, and a little bit of football of the amazing Balearic Islands. Richie Pryor in Mallorca, what do you have for me this week, please?
I've got something to do with affordable housing that I think you're going to enjoy listening to, Mark. That's one of the things that I'm looking at. I'm also looking at the surge in bookings from Canada, which is an interesting story, which goes on the back of what I've talked about in regards to the eclipse and everything else. Yep. The back of that. Also, an interesting an article that I read last week from a guy called Steve Endicott that you know and I know. He writes a blog, and he writes some very interesting blogs, and he came up with an interesting story this week that I thought I would talk about, and I have actually been talking to him about it actually online, and of course some football news, because the football season has restarted.
And it was a good one, but I'll leave you for that. It was an even better one for you, Rich, because you had a double, but we'll leave that to the end, don't we? So, okay, I've got 3 segments as I've always got here. First one, Rich, an interesting one. There's a bit of a furore going on in San Antonio about an Egyptian lake. There you go. That's not a typo, by the way. That's a real story. We've got a bit of boating news as well, Rich, because as you know, I'm a bit of a boater. I've been out on the water quite a lot lately. So a little bit of comments on that. Let's just say the Ibiza residents aren't happy about certain things about the boating community, which we'll go into. And last but by no means least, you know me, I love a report. I'm a stato. I really am a boring stato. I read into I love a spreadsheet. So there's some stats out. Basically, we've got the arrivals for the first 6 months of the year to Ibiza, and they've come up with some very interesting things, Rich, which I think we should look into because I think it shows about the changing dynamic of the island.
So let's talk about housing, Mark, because obviously this is the big problem that particularly the people that are protesting about is what they're more protesting about than the tourists, if the truth be known.
You know, Rich, I always said that this is probably the biggest issue in the Balearics, as we know it, the modern day Balearics, isn't it?
So one of the first major initiatives when the Partida Popular returned to government in 2023 was the announcement of an emergency plan for affordable housing in the Balearics. The initial phase of the plan related to the conversion of commercial premises into residential accommodation, the subdivision of large apartments into smaller ones, and the building of extra floors in order to create more apartments. The Housing Minister, Jose Luis Mateo, has reported on the initial phase, which had produced 516 converted commercial premises, 467 apartments through subdivision, and 146 with extra floors. That's a total of 1,129, which are all priced controlled, by the government. 438 in Palma, with 157, the most, followed by Manacor with 91. The municipalities with the third highest number is Calvia with 26. The rest are spread amongst 16 other municipalities across Mallorca, of which 146 apartments created by adding floors at the top of existing buildings have either been in Palma or Manacor. So this is something that I know you mentioned quite about, of course, converting old commercial properties. It looks like it's being done, Mark.
Yeah, no,
quite a good success by the look of it.
Yeah, no, very good. 1,129 dwellings. That's pretty good, Rich, actually, isn't it? Really good.
Yeah, very good.
It's double bubble, though, Rich, because you're getting rid of the old stock and you're putting new stock in. So it's actually, and you're regenerating, aren't you? That's the thing.
Well, the second phase included the plan to rent the town halls, seeding land for developers to build homes and rent them at prices capped by the government. Some 2,200 homes are in the planning stage, whilst the Ibiza Housing Agency has a further 1,200 in their plans as well. So there are things happening, which I think is positive, and hopefully that's going to continue. Because we both know, I'm sure you've got it in San, and if I wander around Magaluf, Palma, over Santa Ponsa, particularly in the second and third, the third and fourth lines, actually, there's more and more commercial properties that aren't being used and are just sat there not doing anything. And more of those could get converted into property that is let by the government rather than let by private investors or whatever. Then I think that's a positive thing.
It is, Rich. I mean, listen, let me play devil's advocate. I'm not convinced that the government are the best people to do it, Rich. I think I'd rather there was an independent third party doing it, because I think there's a lot of vested interest in all governments, whether you like it or not. But I think it's a good thing. Also, I'm not sure about the price cap, Rich. I think we should come up with a solution for affordable housing. That's what I've always said. But we can't buckle the market, Rich, because the market always market always wins, because that's why it's the market. So I'll be interested. I'm going to do a bit of reading into this, Rich. I've never heard of this one before, so I want to see what the price cap is, and I'll come back to you on it, because
Yeah, but Mark, if you're going to have a price cap, you've got to have a price cap below what the market reads, because the market right now is uncontrollable.
Of course, of course.
And the reason the reason that people can't get on the market ladder is because it is uncontrollable and it's far too high for people to get onto. So you've got to have some sort of regulatory, situation where you are going to regulate that property price.
Which is too high. It's too high for who?
For people, for right now, it's too high. That's what they're protesting about. It's too high for people, not investors from abroad.
No,
I'm talking about people, Rich, that live here in Mallorca.
Why is it too high?
Because it's too high because everybody's pushing the price up.
Because
foreign investors are coming in.
Because it's low supply and high demand, Rich. That's the thing. So what you've got, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate again, Rich. What I'm saying is what you've got is this amazing product called the Balearic Islands, where everyone wants a piece of. Okay, so everyone wants a piece of it. We all know there's a finite number of dwellings. Obviously, people want it there, so the price goes up again, supply and demand. Now, I don't mind a bit of affordable housing now and again, but we can't just dump a load of cheap housing onto the market. It doesn't work that way.
So, no, but we're talking about cheap housing for residents only here, I imagine. That's right. That's what this is.
Here we go. Right, okay. That's what I'm saying. Who are they for and who's deciding who gets them? This is what I'm saying. Listen, I'm all for affordable housing, Rich, but until we have a system that works, and I agree, doctors, police, teachers, emergency workers, of course, that is the responsibility of the government and their employers. Okay, this is what I've long said, because anywhere else in the world, if you've got 1,000 employees and they can't live, then you're going to have to solve that problem. It seems in the Balearics, no one wants to solve the problem. They put it all on the government. So I think it's a good thing, but I'd like to know a little bit more meat on the bone, Rich.
And I would like, maybe controversially, but I would like to make sure that of the 34,000 illegal immigrants that have just registered themselves to be legal after just one living here shouldn't be, in my opinion, allowed to have one of these properties.
Well, I think you'll find, Rich, and it looks like it's going to come in over here. The affordable housing scheme only is available for residents of 10 years plus.
All right, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I think the original one was 5 years, and now they're pushing for 10 years. So yeah, I agree with that, and it's a delicate situation. Being a property man, being a property man myself, I see both sides of it. Of course, we need to have affordable housing, but affordable housing for who? Because is the mayor's nephew going to get an affordable house when it doesn't need? Do you understand what I'm saying, Rich? It's a really delicate situation. Of course, we need to find a solution to it, but I think we've also got to find that the system works, and that's that. And the devil's in the detail, Rich.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Egypt, Rich.
You've booked already to go to the eclipse?
No, Rich. This is a funny one, Rich, because last week on the night after the eclipse, there was a private party in the quarry at the top of San Antonio, a place called Cancosh, Sa Pedrera de Cancosh. It's right up high above San Antonio. There's an old disused quarry there. Mm-hmm. They used to do the MTV festival there back in the day, and they've done a few music concerts. I've got to say, it's a stunning venue, Rich. It really has. I've been there a few times. But this was a private party for 300 to 350 people, and it had an Egyptian theme, Rich. Okay. Now it looks like they've gone through the motions and they've applied for the licenses. Mm-hmm. And I hear on the grapevine they paid 199 euros for the license. Okay, which is probably the standard fee once you jump through hoops and you've got the project there. However, these people, they're called Wyke and Wyke, or Wick and Wick, agreed to pay 50,000 euros to charity. Okay, of which 40,000 went to Caritas. Now you know what Caritas is. It's the homeless society. Yeah. And 10,000 went to the Motor Club of Ibiza, which I'm not quite sure where that's going. But I mean, hello. Motor clubs are full of rich people driving around very big cars. But
sounds like it.
Yeah. Hey ho, listen. If that's the cost, that's the cost. Now the people are up in arms about it, Rich, saying, "Why are we privatising public space?" And I'm kind of on that page as well, because my argument's always been this, Rich. There's so many places in Ibiza where you can go and have a party, the clubs and beach bars and beach parties and
I thought they were all too busy.
Yeah, but you can rent a club out in the daytime, Rich, couldn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah, you can rent Universe out in the daytime. You can rent Es Paradis out in the daytime. You can rent these places out in the daytime. So you've got all these legal places. They're privatizing the public areas. Now, if you think that was bad, then also in the news the day after, and this is where the opposition are really jumping on it, not only was it an Egyptian theme party with pharaohs and a sphinx and everything, it looks like they really threw the kitchen sink at this. The report is, Rich, listen to this, they used 170,000 litres of water to fill a artificial lake. So the water was on exactly. I couldn't put it any better myself, Rich. Oh dear, indeed. So you've got this scenario where you've got, we all get warned that water is really important over here. You've got to use it sparingly. Now, they've come back and said there was only 50,000 litres of water. It doesn't really matter, Rich, because the damage is done. No. The optics are bad, aren't they? They really are bad. So obviously the PSOE opposition have jumped all over it. PP are really running scared a little bit on this, which is the governing party of San Antonio. I'm a big PP supporter, as you know, Rich. I ran for election with them in 2015. I support them, but I also retain the right to criticise them. And I think they got this wrong, Rich. I really do. There's no need for it. It looks like it was a uber celebrity party, DiCaprio and people like that, and other people I've heard were there. which is all good and well. However, it's in a public space, and even if they use 50,000 litres of water, Rich, I think it's a classic own goal, because that really has got everybody hot under the collar. So it's going to run and run. I've just seen in the paper today that the PSOE opposition have done a press conference today about it. So this is going to be a political hot potato. And I think, as I said, that my friends in the government, I just think they've got this one wrong, Rich. I really do, because it wasn't needed and not wanted.
So when they opened the doors of the party, obviously, what time was it? In the daytime?
No, nighttime, Rich. So it was. I think it was on till 3 a.m., which was another bit of upset for the neighbours. I think it was 10 till 3, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it sounds like a great party, Rich. I'm probably just a little bit
annoyed. You were invited,
I'm just annoyed that I didn't get the nod, really, mate. You know, but to be honest, as I said, I've done a little bit of feedback on this, or spoke to a few people, and I don't know anybody, any normal person anyway, who was in favour of it. So this one's going to run and run. But you know, it's not very often we talk about an Egyptian lake in San Antonio, Rich, is it?
But as they walked in, did they walk like an Egyptian or not? Come on, hey.
Oh, Rich, it's puntastic yet again, isn't it? You know. Oh, my life.
But they did more like an Egyptian on the way out.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
50K. Listen, the motor club of Ibiza are happy with the 10K
I'm sure.
contribution. But I mean, Caritas is a really good contribution, but it sounds to me that that's what it took to grease the palms.
Yes, definitely, without a doubt.
For want of a better phrase, yeah, allegedly, yes, yeah,
exactly. So I did say to you that already that there was so many Americans here, and likewise there was a lot of Canadians here as well. And it sounds like the Air Canada direct flight that we've had coming in from Montreal since June has started off very, very well. It was originally driven by high demand of Canadian cycling enthusiasts, obviously people coming here to cycle in the mountains, etc. But I've been hearing, or what I've been reading, is that also the tariffs that the United States have put on Canada has basically backfired, because the Canadians aren't using now the States as a holiday destination. Basically, the Canadians apparently have made less, or 800,000 fewer trips to the States in the time that the flights have been coming here, which means basically that it's meant a loss of about $3.3 billion in travel revenue in the US last year alone.
Good. That's good news, isn't it?
Money that Canadians have used instead to choose to spend overseas exploring not only their own country, but other countries as well, of which obviously Mallorca is a benefit of that as well, which is good news, I think.
North America is probably our biggest emerging market, isn't it? I'm going to talk about tourist figures at the end of last segment. So, but I think actually you're getting more over there, just because I think they go to the bigger island with the more options there. But I think that the market is massive, Rich. It really is.
Oh no! Well, listen, Mike. We both know those two countries alone. I mean, they dwarf obviously what we have. But the good thing about them is that they spend money. They spend a lot
of money, yeah. And they come for short duration, Rich, as well. I mean, this is an amazing thing. They come for like 3 or 4 days.
And they'll spend their money on good hotels, good service, looking for good restaurants.
What's Palma and Mallorca say about the North American market? Is it something you're happy with, or is it something that you're wary of? Because you've got to be careful that no one market takes over, I suppose.
No, but I think what's happening, I think probably Magaluf's a great example of this, Martin. I was going to come onto this a little bit later in another subject of mine, but if you think back years ago when I first came to Mallorca, that Magaluf was dominated by the Brits, I would say, over 90% probably. But what's changed is that, Magaluf, and probably Mallorca, hasn't become so self-reliant on the British market. The British market's changed, of course, as well. We know, because of the advent of no-frills airlines, that's given people the opportunity to travel, to different places and everything else. But what that has also done for Mallorca as well is it's given them an opportunity to diverse into other markets where you find, listen, one of the biggest growing markets is actually the Spanish market, of all places.
Of course, yeah.
The people traveling from the mainland over to the Balearics as a holiday destination, because in reality, you are actually going away. You are moving away from, your own actual, what you could call continent, whatever you want to call it, because you're flying into the destination. But yeah, the actual with the advent of the flight from New York for United Airlines, this flight from Air Canada from Montreal, and also there's now this new one from Abu Dhabi as well. I think that's going to open up the Middle East.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised soon, Mark. Don't quote me on this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to find something from the Far East coming here soon.
Yeah. For sure. What I would say, Rich, is when I go around probably the more salubrious establishments and, maybe, the 4 stars and the 5 stars, I hear a lot of American accents. So what I think, you don't get many American backpackers. That's what I'm trying to say, Rich. When they come over, they're going 4 and 5 star. They're going top restaurants. They're doing all the top things. And what I would say is that they've definitely pushed the standards up in the Balearics, Rich. That's what I would say. Because
without doubt.
You know what Americans are like? They won't accept anything substandard, will they?
No, totally. And I'll go back to Mallorca, Magaluf again. 70 to 80% of hotels are now 4 and 5 star. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, on the Magaluf thing there, Rich, do you find that the so-called British bars up there before, are they now closing down and coming back as something else? Are they reimagining themselves to come back as tapas bars or restaurants? Because back in the day when we were there, mate. Well, when we used to back in the mid-90s, it was all British bars, wasn't it?
Yeah, listen. I mean, the front line now is a good mix of restaurants, beach clubs, bars, cafes, restaurants, and then the second line, which obviously is the Punta Ballena, which is part of the second line. I think over the course of the next 5 years, that's going to change. That's going to. I think it's going to turn itself into nice restaurants. Personally, I think that should happen because that's the way it's definitely going. It's not like it used to be.
I'm looking forward to the Restaurant Association's comments on that, Rich, again, because they like to have a chat. Those guys do, don't they? So
but I think that's the way it's going to have to go because the youth, they're still coming. Don't get me wrong, but don't forget the youth of today aren't drinkers like we used to be as well either. No. It's going to change, and over time it has changed. Listen, blimey, it's changed dramatically since I first got here, and I think it's going to change even more.
If I was to walk around Magaluf next week, would I be surprised at the difference of the dynamics there as well?
Listen, I drove.
It used to be Union Jack shorts, and I'm being obviously.
You'll still get that, Mark. You know that. You'll still get that. You'll still get that in certain places. Those certain places still exist. But
Benny Hill's still there, mate.
Benny Hill's still there, and Manos is still alive. But having driven last night, I drove through. I dropped my son off. Yesterday evening must have been about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And driving through Palmanova and Magaluf, it was busy, Mark. So busy. But this is all restaurants and cafes and bars. This is not
changing,
nightclubs and everything. Yeah.
Don't you find the Balearics in general, Rich? The dynamics are really changing, and it's really starting to change quick now as well. Over it took 30 years for it to shift, and all of a sudden it's really shifting quickly these days, isn't it? So
no, totally. And as I say, I think we touched on this before, Mark. You don't see hotel chains such as the Mandarin Oriental coming to town if they actually don't see that shifting change themselves as well.
No. I've got some. I'll talk about it next week because I've got time this week. There's a new big hotel group coming into Ibiza town, which I'll mention next week. So the money's coming in, Rich, and the money's coming in. The Americans are coming in. The North Americans are coming in. Should I say the Canadians? So it's changing, which I'll come on in one of my segments. But talking of money, Rich. It's boating season, isn't it? August is real boating season. I'm lucky enough to have a little boat myself. I've been out for the last few days. In fact, I've just come back now, been out with some friends for a while. And it's busy out there, Rich. It really is. I mean, there's a lot of boats on the water. Been in the press this weekend. Ibiza residents not happy. Calatrava especially, because I saw the video. There must have been 100 boats in that small bay, Rich. It really was. I mean, today I parked up in Calaconta, and it was pretty busy. I've got to tell you. What they're saying is, who's controlling it, Rich? This is a thing because we've got so many controls on land, haven't we? We've got so many police, Guardia Civil, Polizia Nacional, civil, what do you call it? The civil responsibility, or the civil protection, should I say? But on the water, Rich, there doesn't seem to be too many over there as well.
Listen, and Mark, the eclipse last week would have been a perfect example. Blimey, the amount of boats that were on that water. And to be honest with you, unless you're actually parking a specific area, a couple of places you just mentioned there, but if you're out in the open water, I mean, they don't make it, they don't make a jot of difference. But when they're congregated in a certain area, then there is that is that problem. I get that.
I must say, as a caveat, Rich, it's mid-August. We're soon to be coming towards the end of August. Trust me, at the end of August, half the boats go. In fact, 70% of the boats go. This is just a peak season problem. I think the residents are within the rights just to ask a few questions. Who's monitoring these areas? Who decides when there are too many vessels in one place? And who is actually enforcing the rules? Like most things in the Balearics, Rich, it probably won't get looked at until it's probably a little bit too late. However, it is pretty chaotic out there as well. So, I mean, there's an environmental issue there as well, Rich, isn't there? So, and also we know that the Balearics is a premium destination. So you want premium people, but I think the boating community probably has to start policing itself, Rich, because at the moment, I've got a feeling something's got to give. But as I said, it is an August problem. In 2 weeks' time, you'll find there'll be half as many boats out there and we'll all be happy again. So, probably a little bit of a whinge for August, but as I say, it's worth taking note of and keeping an eye on for the future.
Yeah, and listen, Mark, go back to the American thing again. So many American, I would call superstars, are actually holidaying and particularly boating now.
Well, they all come on boats, Rich.
It gives them
Michael Jordan,
gives them that freedom, doesn't it? A little bit more. Of course. Yeah.
I don't actually, on this occasion, Rich, I'm not having a whinge about the big boys, those big super yachts. I'm not having a whinge about them because they're out. They have to stay out. They're that big.
Yeah, exactly.
These are the small vessels, Rich, you go straight in. In many ways, it's the small vessels that are the problem because the small vessels you can get in. You can get right in. And now, I don't know if they've done the same on the beaches in Mallorca, but they've put some swim nets out, Rich. So everywhere you go now, you've got these swim nets. And the nets are getting further and further out every year.
Very good.
Which is probably a good thing. As a boatie, maybe I'd like to see them maybe just stop there. But as I said, I think the boating community only got itself to blame because there's just too many of them.
But I don't know if this is happening in Ibiza, Mark, but there's it seems to be a lot of bars and even restaurants now are investing in their own boats to actually deliver food and drink to these boats now. Does that happen in Ibiza as well?
It does, Rich. I mean, especially in the big places. What the big restaurants usually do, they put a tender on so they go and pick people up and bring them in.
Right, okay.
They taxi them in. Yeah, so that's the whole thing. And what you usually find is if you ask them to bring some food out, they will do that. So,
cool.
I mean, it's massive business, Rich. I love boating. I love the water. It's getting completely out of control. That's the thing. Also, Rich, self-drive boats. I don't know if you get them over there, self-drive boats.
I've been told they're going to be banned.
They are, mate. Yeah, they are from next year. So it's the last year of them. I haven't got the full details, but I think from next year, 27, they're going to be banned. But they're like mosquitoes, Rich. They are a problem. They really are because anybody can rent them.
True story. Last week, I was offered one of those for the Eclipse. It was for 5 hours. I can't remember the times and everything, but it was for 5 hours. You could have got 9 people on there, and it was €2,500.
What, for a self-drive?
For a self-drive.
Wow. I presume you had a couple, Rich, because you're.
Of course, mate. If you saw my pictures, I wasn't on the boat.
I saw exactly where you were. You were grimacing on the coast, trying not to enjoy yourself, but begrudgingly enjoying yourself. So, keep an eye on. I mean, as I say, keep an eye on it, Rich. I mean, I know you're new to the boating world, but you're sticking your toe in there, so to speak. So, I'd like to get some feedback from Mallorca if you ever get some.
You definitely. And weirdly enough, Mark, I helped someone organise a party last week, and it was for a boat captain friend of mine. And he's a lovely guy, and I know. Obviously, I've known him for quite a few years, and I said to him, "What are you up to now?" And he sent me through his the boat he's now sort of captain of. I won't mention any names or anything, but let's just say the boat goes out for $925,000 a week.
A week, yeah. It's about normal. Should
it's a different world.
Have a couple of weeks, mate. We'll do a few podcasts on it, shall we? I know.
Mate.
But by the way, I think that's plus fuel plus tips. So
probably, yeah.
Yeah, no, it will be. It'll be plus fuel plus tips. So the fuel will be in the 50 to 100,000. The tips will probably be 10,000 as well. So it's a rich man's play thing. And I do love the boats, Rich. What I love about the boating world is there's no secrets. Right, here's a little tip for everyone back home. If you see a boat, take a picture of it, Google it. It will tell you where it's from, where it's built, who owns it, how much it is a week. And if you go on vesselfinder.com, it will tell you exactly where it is in the world. So there's no secrets out there with big boats. So I love it. But as I said, on this occasion, it's not the big boats that are the problem, Rich. It's the smaller ones.
Now, Mark, you and I come from the old tour operating world, of course.
Of course we do.
When we first started.
You mean the good old days, Rich?
The good old days, way before the internet, actually, which is a bit weird.
Before mobile
phones, which is probably a good idea. Yeah, which is probably useful, actually.
I used to ring up my mum and dad from the payphone and put the 25 pesetas in, mate. There you go.
Well, yeah, and if you remember that, if you flew over here, you were here for a week. You could get on another flight. Basically, you were here for a week. There wasn't a flight the next day that you could get back on. The low cost airlines didn't exist, but obviously over time, the low cost airlines started to come into the market, and then there was a lot of tour operators that sort of sprung up that were basically dynamically packaging holidays. That means that they weren't actually already packaged for you. They were looking for a flight for you, then your accommodation, then possibly your transfers and everything else. And that was a big market thing. And that obviously then started to close down. And now what we find is that quite a lot of people, I think it's probably in the region of around about 40% of people now actually do their own thing. Basically, they do it themselves. They can do it, particularly with AI now. You can pretty much do anything online. You can actually, ask it what you want and how you want it, the star of accommodation, the flight, days, times, and everything else, and it will pretty much come up with a plan for you. So, interesting enough, I was reading a blog by a guy called Steve Endicott that you know and I know. Steve was with Air Tours many moons ago, and I think he was one of the leaders of the dynamically packaging market when it sort of first started to exist. Mark, now obviously he's got his feet and hands into other things, but he does a very good blog, actually, to be honest with you. And we're talking about something called yield management, which I'm sure you're aware of. This is where they're looking to maximize the cost of a holiday seat, as in on an airline, against a piece of holiday accommodation, which is a hotel room, and try and get as much as they possibly can for those particularly two big things, as they are the big things of the holiday. And what used to happen, obviously, they used to package them together and they put a price on them and everything else, and they'd look at what their rivals were doing and then try and eke it down by about 10 quid if they could to make it cheaper than their rival. And then you looked at the dynamically package where the EasyJet flight will be slightly cheaper than the Ryanair flight, etc. So it's gone on through time to where we are today. But interesting, Steve come up with a good point this week, and very interesting, that he said that where it used to be the fact that people used to sort of buy their flights first and then find their accommodation, he's actually found that in Mallorca this year, what's happened is that a lot of people, which you can do now, particularly with booking, obviously you can book your accommodation a year in advance if you like, get it at a really good rate, and even cancel it up to the point of travel. I think it's 24 hours, isn't it, these days?
Yeah, it depends.
You take out certain insurance.
Yeah, it depends. On booking, you can either they give the option that the cheaper price is non-refundable, but if you pay a little bit more, you can cancel it anytime.
But he said that he's been keeping his eye on the prices of the low-cost airlines, and in May and June, low-cost airlines were averaging out about 200 a person. And he said, but if you'd have waited and basically waited for the flights to come out for August, he's basically said that the airlines have now cut the cost of travel for your flight to around about 100 a person. So you've actually halved the cost of the flights literally before, which that never ever used to happen. But he said Mallorca, he says, is leading this leading prices away from this traditional yield management, and basically turning it on its head. And you're eventually finding that people now, if you wanted to, obviously it's a bit of a risk, of course, we get that. He's kept an eye on it and everything else, and he says he's finding that flights are 50% cheaper than they were at the beginning of the season.
I think there's an overcapacity problem as well, Rich, because I think, again, we're victim's not the word, but we are a successful brand, the Balearics, Mallorca, Menorca, Formentera and Ibiza, and people want to get involved. And so the airlines have put plenty of seats on, but the demand it ebbs and flows, doesn't it? So I think there's a lot of supply and there's a lot of demand. But this year, I mean, I'm going back to London this week, and I've paid €85 return, Rich, for there and back. I know that's the reverse return, as we used to say, so we go Ibiza, London.
But still August, it's still a very good price.
It's August, Rich. It's 80. I'm going with EasyJet as well, so I'm paying, I think, with everything about €90, so say about 85 quid, 80 quid return. I mean, that's unheard of, Rich, for August as well. Now, the bad news is, Rich, that what happens usually after a year like this is the airline cut capacity, because they go, well, we lost a load of money last year, so they cut capacity and then the prices go up again. But this year, I think for flights, it's been great. It really has. And I've noticed now there's a Southend to Ibiza flight Wednesday and Saturday, and I have a lot of friends from that area, and they come on it. They come over on a Saturday and go back on a Wednesday, or come over on Wednesday, go back on a Saturday. And this flight is dirt cheap, Rich. It's with EasyJet, and they all say it's dirt cheap. When I say dirt cheap, maybe £130, £140 return all the way through. So,
still good.
I mean, I used to have a travel agency, and I think 100 quid each way was the average back in the day. But if you're getting anything for less than £200 return, you've had a deal. Trust me.
So if you're travelling with the Orange Brigade rather than your favourite green and blue, which seat have you booked, Martin? Have you? What is it? F11 or something?
No, 17F is my
17F. That's it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I've got a little bit of a confession. I haven't booked a seat this time, Rich, because I've seen that the aircraft is pretty empty. So I'm going to chance it and hopefully just do a little manoeuvre when I get on there, which I don't want to go into too many details. But if you know, don't you? So,
yes, there is a little trick. I know what you do. Yes,
little trick. Basically, wait to the end. Make sure you're the last person on, and just jump on that seat. You know what I mean? And and then just put your head down and just hope that you don't get moved. So, I know. I'm giving my secrets away. So we've had the numbers are in for the first 6 months of the year, which is very interesting. So for the first 6 months, so 1st of Jan to the 30th of June, Ibiza and Formentera. Always remember that Formentera is involved in these figures as well. So we had 1.41 million tourists, which is pretty good. Numbers are up slightly on last year, but it's quite interesting because if you go into the detail, as we know, the devil's always in the detail. There's two markets that seem to be decreasing, Rich. One is the Italians, and two is the Germans. Now, the Italian market has gone down by 25,000 fewer arrivals in the first 6 months. And that doesn't surprise me, Rich, actually, because there's two other nationalities that are taking over. The Germans are down 10% as well. So between them, Germans and Italians, I think the Germans are probably going over to you, aren't they? And maybe the Italians are going to Greece. I don't know.
Well, just one thing, Mike. Isn't there been a bit of a problem over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks of the problems with the Italians and the Spanish having a bit of a fight amongst themselves?
Yeah, no, this was after the Ceuta one, but that was obviously in July and August. These are the first 6 months of the year, mate. So, I mean, we may, because of that, Rich, we may find that they go down even more. But the numbers are up. So Spanish visitors are up 25,000, exactly what you said before, Rich. The Spanish are really kind of taking over as the number one, which is amazing, really, because for years they couldn't get a hotel room, Rich. Can you remember those old days? It was only Iberostar, I think, or there was only package holidays that Spanish could get here because basically, quick story, all the hotels had guaranteed contracts with English operators. So the Spanish could never get there. Now, this is the big one, Rich. The Dutch have increased in numbers by 30,000, which I think the Dutch are now becoming our version of your Germans. They're just coming over. I think the Dutch absolutely love it in Ibiza. It must be the Amsterdam spirit, Rich. The free love and do what you want and just relax.
Well, of course, don't forget most successful DJs in the world pretty much come from Holland as well, don't they?
Yeah, good point, Rich. Yeah, I mean, so French visitors are up 14,000 as well. Now, this is the really interesting bit about this survey, Rich. Spending is up 8%. So the numbers are up very slightly, but the spending is up to 8%, and the total spend for the first 6 months, not bad, a cool 1.5 billion euros. Okay,
nice.
Now, great, fantastic. But what they've said, what the government have said, yes, okay, all the prices have gone up quite a lot. So the extra spending is actually covering the extra prices.
Right.
It's not new, Rich. It's not new money. This is the problem. So before we start celebrating and going, "Oh, our product's fantastic," okay, Ibiza is a premium brand now. Whether listen, all the Karens might not like it on Facebook. It's a premium.
Steady on, Mark.
No, they don't like it. Every time I've got a blog coming out this week, which is going to upset all the Karens as well. So Ibiza is a premium, and Formentera rather is a premium product. It really is. However, at the end of the day, the money is going on hotels. It's going on flights. It's going on things that people have to buy rather than going into the pocket of restaurants and bars. So we are now attracting more clients. Or more customers who are spending more money. But where are they spending that money? And at the end of the day, I think that is the $64,000 question.
Oh, you've changed from a million, have you?
I was going to go to a million, but I remembered the old Bob Monkhouse quiz show, so I went thousands. Yeah, obviously you're too old to remember that, Rich. So
totally. We should mention, because we haven't mentioned it for a couple of weeks, I think the exchange rate is.
Oh yeah,
someone asked about the exchange
to be honest,
rate.
Someone did message me last week saying, "Where is the exchange rate?"
Well, we've brought it back.
Hold on, just let's have a little gap so I can put a little drum roll in. There you go. They're going to insert drum roll. Yes, sorry, Rich, go on.
Sterling against the euro is 1.7 euros. That's 1.17, and sterling. I was going to say, do you want me to do euro against US dollar? No, we won't do that. That's far too complicated for everybody. Let's quickly talk about Real Mallorca, Mark, because the league started last weekend. Real Mallorca in action against Rayo Valladolid.
Valladolid, mate. Valladolid.
Don't you say Valladolid? No,
it's Valladolid, Rich.
You sure?
Yeah, I kind of am sure. And by the way, thanks for putting the old kit online as well, Rich. I like that.
Well, that wasn't me. That was my friends from AI that did that for me, to be perfectly honest. So you can only blame them.
Listen, I was involved in that kit deal, and you've just totally wiped me off the face of the earth there on that one. Yeah, thank you very much.
You should have told me. I'd put the right one in. But anyway, you did tell me afterwards, actually. But too late.
Thanks, mate.
Got in action against your friends from where are they? Was it Madrid?
Valladolid,
yeah. So a 2-0 win for Mallorca. A bit of a strange first half. It was a bit cat and mouse. Nothing too much of cat and mouse, even, I should say. Nothing really too much happened. It all happened in the second half. Mallorca got a great goal from Pablo Torre from a free kick, and then also a good set piece header from Rayo. And they won quite comfortably in the end by 2-0. 15,500 were there, which I think was a pretty good crowd, considering it's August. A lot of people on holiday, and it was still very, very hot inside. I bet
it was absolutely piping hot in there, wasn't it, Rich? What time was kickoff?
9:30. It was late, but
that's a small.
But it was still hot.
Yeah. Did you go?
Yeah, I was there. And
how was the atmosphere?
Yeah, it was good actually. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And I was checking out actually last year's average attendance in La Liga Hypermotion, which is the Spanish second division, or the championship as we would call it. 12,500 was the average last year. So we hit 15.5. We've gone on just over 20,000 season ticket holders. So there was still 5 or probably even more than that, 5,000 season tickets didn't turn up, because I imagine there was a few people buying tickets on the door as well. So more to come, hopefully. But Mallorca look pretty solid. I think if we can keep Rayo and Valgent fit at the back, the two centre halves look very strong, to be honest with you. The midfield looks great. Morlanes, Darder, and Pablo Torre looks good. And even when we brought the substitutes on, I think they look good and strong as well. We've got quite a few second division players that have played in that division before, so know the crack of that division, and it's important that we can get ourselves back up into La Liga for next season.
No, good result, mate. Really good start, and I think you've laid down a marker, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we shall see. I think you take the first 10 games, Mark, see how you get on. I think particularly in this league, it's very much like the Championship.
Yeah.
Well, even after the first, if I look at the league right now, I think it was only about, if I'm right in saying, it's about 5 or 6 teams that actually won a game. Everybody else drew. Do you know what I mean? So that's what this league is all about.
It's an attritional league, isn't it?
Win your home games. Try and get a result away. Even if that's just a draw, that's fine, and you'll find yourself in and around the top 6, I imagine, at the end of the season.
My prediction, Rich, is you're going to go straight back up. That's my prediction, and I think you're going to enjoy it as well, because I think it's good to see winning football, isn't it? Even if it's in the second tier.
No, definitely, and an opportunity for us to travel a bit more. Obviously, not to the traditional places where we would normally travel. Like Madrid, Barcelona, Sevilla, Valencia, those sort of places. We've got other places to go to this year, which I think is going to be quite interesting. Even Andorra, Mark, we've got to play Andorra, and also the Canaries. We've got to go to Gran Canaria and Tenerife this year.
Here's my second prediction: Rich won't go to any away games whatsoever. There you go.
Well, I won't go to any away games.
No, there's no way you'll go to any away games.
I have earmarked Andorra already to go. In fact, I was talking to someone about it today. The only problem is, obviously, as you know, Mark, my 2 sons do play football. So I've got this, dilemma that, I've got to get them around. And my wife hates football. So, so that leaves me, which, I love football. So it's not a problem for me. But, my sons will come before me taking an away game. Hopefully, there'll be a midweek home away game, that we can go to. And I don't know if you know, Mark, that also word to the wise here that England will be playing Spain in November in the Nations League. They'll be playing, I think it's October in Wembley, or late September, but in November, the 15th, I think I'm right in saying.
It's at the Metropolitano, and I will be there, Rich.
Are you going? Well,
Yeah,
I want to go. It's a Sunday, isn't it?
It's a Sunday, mate. I'm booked up. I'm actually away on the mainland, so I booked a flight from Alicante.
Tickets not on sale yet, as far as
no,
I'm
not
aware,
yet. And listen, I'm part of the England Supporters Club, so I'll be okay. But I'm going with 3 friends, so we'll hunt around, mate. So I'll get an extra ticket for you, Rich. Shall I?
I would definitely want to go, Mark. Definitely.
Yeah. I think it'd be cracking game, that will, because obviously world champions. The Metropolitano, which I've been to a couple of times, a really great stadium, mate. So yeah, fantastic, perfect, Rich. That's done, mate. Another week done. Another week of August is done.
Take care.
The longest month of the year is what I mean.
Nearly halfway and a little bit over. So
yeah, no, it just seems to be taking. I think July just goes so quickly, and September goes so quickly, but August just seems to drag, I think. So, but listen, thanks as always, Rich. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, Mark.
Make me dance.